Alrighty. Good morning, ladies. So I hope you have had a wonderful Christmas and New Year. This is my first question of the week back for January 2023. Yeah, I hope you are all okay. Thank you for all of the questions that came through. I've just got to find them now. I had 4 really good questions. So I just want to find the questions. It was quite difficult to choose one. So what I'm going to do, I've spoken to one lady. In fact, I've spoken to a couple of the ladies in private message. And what I thought I'd do is answer 2, if I can. I'm going to answer 2 questions today. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I really want you to get a feel for what it's like to work with me. I have a circle community, which I know some of you know about. It's a membership group. And what we do in that membership group is we do monthly Ask Me Anything. So you can ask me any question you like and I'll come on and I answer them. We have 2 group coaching calls with me and we have occasional guest coaches. And I sometimes record my podcasts in there too. And you get the chance to ask the guest coach questions. And starting this month, we're doing themed months. And if you want to know more about the themed months, have a look at the pinned post, the welcome post, where I talk about the different themes. Anyway, I would love for you to come into the circle community, if nothing else. It's the cheapest way to work with me. It's $24.99 a month. And the community of women is rather lovely and very special. And you get a lot of support. Now, for those of you who are interested in doing my She Finds Freedom program, that's 8 weeks starting on January the 23rd. I'm going to be organizing a webinar about that, so look out for that. But if you sign up for that now, you get access to my circle community straight away, and then for the 8 weeks starting from the 23rd of January. And there is so much brilliant stuff in my circle community. If you're feeling stuck about anything, anxiety, procrastination, worry, fear, the 2 questions that have arisen I'm going to speak to, there is so many good videos and just so much good stuff in that circle community. It's such good value for $24.99 a month. You're not signed into any contract, and it's just a brilliant way to meet different women and get support and have me available. So the 2 questions that I've chosen for question of the week, and I really appreciate you taking the time to ask me, because that means a lot to me that you trust me enough to ask me. The first one is from Sarah Brown. Hi, Charlie. I'd love you to speak to this. I still feel that certain emotions are not acceptable. For example, anxiety and sadness. And I try to use the 3 principles to get out of it. How do you see it's all okay? For those of you that don't know what the principles are, the 3 principles, I have now, for 2023, have a little shop finally on my website, iamcharliewall.com, and there is a masterclass on the 3 principles. If you want to go and check that out, it's not very much money. I think it's probably £10 or something. You can go to my website. In fact, I'll put the link under this as well. So for anyone who doesn't know what the 3 principles are, go and check that out. Because otherwise you might think, what the bloody hell is she on about? Now, I'm going to answer you, Sarah, and I'm going to try not to use the principles language because I don't want it to confuse anyone who doesn't know what the principles are. And I know from, experience, trying to articulate something that's formless, it can often be very, very tough. And people just want answers, don't they? They want help. They want to feel relief. And what you're saying, what I'm hearing you saying, Sarah, is that you are experiencing anxiety still. You are experiencing sadness still. Then you say, I'm trying to use the 3 principles to get out of it. Now, that there, just that teeny tiny part there, Sarah, is one of the reasons why you're probably staying stuck in these emotions, because you can't use the principles to get out of anything. The principles are a description of how life works. They're not a prescription. It isn't like I can use the principles to get out of any experience that I'm having, whether that be grief, whether that be sadness, whether that be anything that I judge to be not good. So I'll give you an example. This happened to me only yesterday. I live in a place called Snettisham in North Norfolk. And I'm in all of these little local groups because I do a little fitness boot camp just for local ladies here. I do it once a week. And this gentleman in the Dersingham Facebook group, he wrote, or I realise now he's doing it every day, a little weather update for people. And I read this yesterday morning and I was just overcome with grief for my dad. My dad used to send me and my sister weather updates every day. And if I'd have tried, right now, what I've got is an experience of an emotion, which, remember, is energy emotion. I have an experience of an emotion that I don't like, that I feel afraid of. Okay, so if I've got an experience that I'm judging to be anxiety or sadness or grief or frustration or annoyance, and I'm trying my hardest to use the principles, I'm going to get a bit stuck, because what I'll find myself saying is, it's just my thinking, which of course adds another layer of stress, because I'm judging an emotion which is often very natural and movable and impermanent and changeable on its own. So had I done that yesterday in that experience of grief, I would have probably kept trying to fix this experience of grief, which was unplanned, because grief, any emotion, often can hit you like that, like a little flick in the face, and you aren't prepared for it, because guess fucking what? You can't plan your thinking, right? You don't plan how you're going to be in any one day. And that's often like what people believe they can control their emotions, and a lot of us are on automatic pilot anyway as we go through the day, and that's all about neuroscience, and that's another whole deeper level that I talk about in my Finding She Finds Freedom program. But you know, in that experience yesterday, where this wave of grief came out of the blue, which of course it does because we can't plan it and we can't prepare for it, and I allowed it. I didn't try to do anything, because I understand how the principles work, which means I understand how I experience emotion, how I experience thought, how I experience feeling. I know that everything moves through me and it all just pops in, often randomly, or we can get certain triggers at certain things. But I'm not trying to use the principles. It's my understanding that that is how I work. That is what is universal about all humans. Every single human being experiences their feeling through thought and their experience of life through their thinking. So I know in myself, in my being, firstly, that I'm not afraid of it. And secondly, that it's going to move through, because as I talk to you about that experience of remembering my father, I'm not sad as I articulate that to you, but I'm using it as an example. And yesterday I wasn't prepared to be hit by that wave of grief. I mean, it's been 6 years since he died anyway, so these things happen less and less. But like the third part, Sarah, you said, how do you see that it's all okay? Is by deeply understanding what's going on, that everything that's moving through you is neutral. Whether you label it sadness or you label it anxiety. And often what I have found in my own experience of living with anxiety for so long, my whole life, up until a few years ago, is that anxiety was created from an alarm that was activated as a child where I didn't know I was safe. I didn't feel like I was safe. So I spent most of my life not even knowing how anxious I was. I just thought it was normal. And I also spent most of my life trying to get out of any experience and managing all of my experiences through various compulsions and habits of behavior. Every experience that I have now, every thought that I have now, mostly I don't take a lot of it seriously, but I also know that if I feel anxious, it's because there's been some trigger that's been alarmed in my system that's coming from an unconscious place in me that needs to be loved. It's all thought anyway, but it was created at some point in the past. Now, often we don't know when, where, and when that stuff gets created. And actually, that's not hugely important. What is important that you give yourself permission to feel all of it and be okay anyway, because you are all okay anyway. None of you are broken. There's nothing to fix. It's this illusion that there's something wrong in the first place, right? And then when we believe that, we create that experience and we create that reality for ourselves. Your brain, your ego wants to be right. Oh, look, here we are again. Here I am again. I'm anxious. It must be because I'm broken, etc. I must use the principles to get out of it. That just says to me that you haven't really deeply seen, Sarah, the principles at a really deep level that are principles. Like gravity is a principle, right? We can't see gravity, it's formless, but we know that, if I trip, I'm going to fall to the ground because it's a principle of nature. These are principles of human nature. So I don't have to use anything. I'm using them now to explain myself to you. You're using the principles, they're working through you to listen to my answer. I hope that makes sense, Sarah. And I would really encourage you and anyone listening, anyone struggling with anything like this, to come and join my Freedom Program. It's 8 weeks. If you sign up now, you'll get access to my circle group. Honestly, I cannot tell you how brilliant it is to be able to help you see really deeply how you're creating your experience and how much freedom that gives you in your life. Anyway, so if you want to have a chat privately about my program, just send me a message. I'm going to put the links all under this and probably add this to my podcast as well. The second question I'm going to answer today is another really good question. Jana, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. I don't know whether it's Hana or Jana. But anyway, she says, I'm 41, I'm still single. And why am I so obsessed with getting married? It's working on my every thought every day. So the reason you're obsessed with getting married is because you've had a thought at some point, which is having a judgment about your age, which has been, I suspect, societally conditioned and programmed into you as a woman, that the age of 41 seems to be an age where people are usually married or have children. I don't know if you've got children, but please know that there is a an underlying conditioning and a program in our society, particularly for women, where if you're not married and you haven't got children and you haven't got your own house and you haven't got, like this list of sort of expected things by certain ages, then there must be something wrong with you. So innocently, Jana, you are taking your age as if that means something about you. I'm 51 nearly. I'm not married. Now, I have been married, right? I have been married. I have a child. He's not a child anymore. He's a man. I've owned my own house. I've owned 2 houses, actually. I don't own my own house at the moment, but there are huge conditions and programs that seep into us as women about what's deemed acceptable and what's deemed a tick box for us to be okay, right? So I want you to bear that in mind, Jana, and then see that you innocently have made meaning out of your age and of about the fact that you're single as being proof and evidence that there's something wrong with you and that you need to be married to be okay. None of that is true. But until you see that you're okay now, even if you're 41, even if you're single, and you don't need to be married to be okay, you start to have a different relationship with self. And once you start to have a different relationship with yourself, and you haven't got these barometers and measurements of your okayness and your self-worth, you start to be kinder to yourself. And that alone carries a different energy in your being. Because you start to think, what do I want to make myself happy? What do I need to make myself happy? Rather than looking outside of yourself to someone else to complete you or be okay. And this is why so many people, I've known so many women in my life. I mean, as clients and friends, and I used to run a female-only boot camp in Cambridge, so thousands of women I've worked with during my lifetime, my career, and my friendships. And many of them struggled with these hurdles, 30, 40. I've yet to see 50 hasn't been that bad as far as I can see for most of my peers, but I remember my mom and her peers worrying about being 50. And actually, you turn 40 or 41 or 42 and nothing changes. You might get the man and be married, and actually what needs to happen is something in here needs to change. You might get the thing that you think is going to make you happy, and it might do, it might make you happy for a few weeks, a few years. But if you aren't happy in yourself, if you have been constantly looking outside of yourself for something to complete you, it's always going to come knocking on the door again. So whilst you believe, Jana, that there's meaning in your age, and not having the things you think you should have, it's going to look like that's the thing you need. And therefore it becomes an obsession. It becomes a compulsion. It becomes a habitual thought that you play over all day, every day. It's like the women who are every day, I'm going to start my diet every day. It's this obsession every day. It doesn't matter to me the thing that you're obsessed about. It matters to me that you think there's something wrong with you in the first place. And your brain has come up, your brain is a machine, and it's come up with this idea and it's caught hold of it. And it's made meaning of it, and it thinks that you need that. And so you make it your mission, and you go on all the dating sites and you kiss a load of frogs. And meanwhile, you're not taking care of yourself, listening to your own needs, listening to your own wants, being the person you need for yourself. And when you start doing that, energetically, things will change and you will draw someone to you, because that's how energy works. I'd love to tell you, Jana, as well, to join my She Finds Freedom 8-week program or my circle group or both. If you join my She Finds Freedom program, you'll get access to the circle as soon as you join. I would be honored to have you there. Thank you so much for the questions. Thank you for listening if you've listened. It's always an honor, and send me any questions if you want for next week. I'll go back to doing one unless I get two really juicy ones. Anyone want to put their hand up for free coaching? Remember, the catch is that you, it's live in my Facebook group. Thank you so much, guys. Love to you all. And oh, hi, Janie. I didn't see you there. Yeah. Take care of yourselves.